I would like to call to order our June 17th regular school board meeting. We're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. We will have a moment of silence. Thank you. First up on our agenda is our additional appropriation hearing. The school corporation is funding a project through the issuance of general obligation bonds, and the proceeds from this bond issue must be advertised prior to the project, and it was advertised in our local paper. At this time, we will open the public comment session or portion of our meeting as it relates to bonds. I don't think we'll have anyone come up, so we will close the hearing. And at this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Hortemiller to give us a few words, say a few words on this.
Thank you, Madam President. So tonight will be the final step of approval for the board for our 2025 general obligation bond. The general obligation bonds have a few less procedural approvals than a lease debt that we've done in the past. So again, the general obligation bond is for this year, it's going to be a principal amount of $19,725,000. Obviously, you all recall the two presentations that we gave a couple months back in terms of what that goes to. So we won't review that tonight unless there's any questions. But like I said, tonight's the final approval, and then we will go to the market. We're set to go to the market in early September of this year to receive those proceeds.
Okay. All right. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the additional appropriation resolution?
So moved.
Joe? Second. Misty? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next piece of this is, may I have a motion to approve the final bond resolution? Motion.
So moved.
Joe?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, we have recognitions. Dr. Heil. Yes,
I know. What's going on? Board docs, we need to...
It went out and went back in, yeah.
Hope we have this meeting. Okay, but I know what I'm supposed to do. So at this time, I would love to invite, we have several of our outstanding music educators here with us this evening. So can I get you to come up here and stand with us for just a minute while I say just a few quick words? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm just going to read a few things here because I want to make sure I get it exactly right. So Noblesville Schools was recently named a 2025 Best Community for Music Education by the National Association of Music Merchants for the 11th consecutive year. And this national recognition highlights school districts for their outstanding efforts by teachers, administrators, parents, students, and community leaders in embracing music education as a part of the core school curriculum. Districts were selected based on music funding, staffing of highly qualified music teachers, commitment to standards, and access to music instruction. And on a personal note, I want to say, for those who know me personally, you know that I am a former music educator myself. And I have to tell you, as someone who knows music programs pretty well, we truly have an unbelievable, outstanding music program here at Noblesville Schools, and that is district-wide. And you know, we offer over 30 music classes every year, and the program and the opportunities that our students receive at all levels is exemplary, to put it mildly. And so I'm very excited. I want to steal my own thunder in a little bit of something I'm going to highlight, but I'm very excited, obviously, for the new opportunities that are coming at Noblesville High School with the expansion of the performing arts rehearsal spaces there. But again, just the commitment district-wide. And these are just a few of the educators that make it happen every single day. So again, can't be more proud of these folks, and just want to say a huge thank you again for everything they do for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to reports. Dr. Ryan Rich, Assistant Superintendent of Learning, and Dr. Jen Townsend, Executive Director of Learning, will share details about the new Administrator Professional Growth and Evaluation Program.
All right, good evening. Really excited to present this to you tonight. One of the things I absolutely love about our district is that when we see an opportunity for something to be improved, we take that on. We want to tackle that. And about 2 or 3 years ago, Dr. Townsend and I, who are responsible for evaluating school principals, we started talking about asking the question, could there be a better way forward with administrative professional growth and evaluation? And at about that same time, we started to be exposed to a new idea out of the Indiana Association of School Principals organization, a new paradigm called the School Leader Paradigm, which really represents a synthesis of all of the most recent research regarding high quality, highly effective school leadership. And so that really piqued our interest. We engaged in a partnership, and fast forward to here we are now. We have collaboratively led a group of administrators from across our district, and we have used that paradigm, that leadership paradigm, as the basis for development of a new professional growth evaluation program. So that's what we're here to present to you tonight, just to give you a high-level overview. In your packet, you did receive the full document as well, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. So wanted to start first by just clearly articulating the purpose of this new program. It is to both develop and assess annual performance for all school leaders, except for one, Dr. Heil. He gets an extra special evaluation as superintendent. So this will apply to everyone, cabinet on down through to principals, assistant principals, and our deans of students as well. So growth is the emphasis. It's always about growth first. We want to grow professionally, but also there is that evaluation component that also is important. Also, this is pretty comprehensive, as you have seen in your packet, in terms of really empowering our administrators to lead with purpose, drive meaningful, sustainable change in our schools and in our organization, and also cultivate a culture of sustained learning and growth over time. We can always grow, we can always get better. And then finally, to promote a commitment to growing administrators who are learning leaders, successfully leading learning organizations. So what does that mean? I'm going to break that down for you. That is a key component of the school leader paradigm, which serves as the basis of this plan. The concept of learning leaders is that if you are in Noblesville Schools an educational leader, you should be learning constantly. Learning and growing. If we are not learning and growing, then our schools are not growing and improving. That's key. And so that leads to that learning organization piece. You've heard us talk so much over the past few years about our professional learning communities, that every educator is a member of a collaborative team. We are consistently learning and growing our practices in the classroom. We're improving our curriculum. So they're mutually reinforcing by having administrators who are committed to growing their leadership capacity. They are in turn improving our opportunity for our schools as organizations, as well as our district, to evolve and grow over time. So learning leaders leading learning organizations. So in Noblesville Schools, there are some pretty clear expectations that are established through this new program. Number one, that all administrators will engage in ongoing reflection to assess and improve their leadership intelligences. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. And then number two, improve the culture, learning, and systems within the school and district context. In other words, as an individual, you are always applying what you are learning and how you are growing to improve the school and the district within those key contexts: culture, learning, and systems. All right, Dr. Townsend.
So as Ryan said, it's constantly thinking through that. When you look up here on the school leader paradigm, when you're looking at it, to the left is really that becoming side. So that's that personal intelligences, that piece that you're constantly growing and thinking about what are the areas within these areas that I could grow, and then what are the things that I'm also really strong at. And then on the other side is really thinking through that systems approach and really thinking through the doing part. So it's the action. And so Ryan talked about that, how they marry together. They're both important. As you look, you'll see that infinity loop, which means we're constantly thinking through that reflect, plan, implement, and assess. When we first started this journey, we met with Todd Bess, who is the executive director of IASP, and then he also connected us with Tiffany Barrett, who is the assistant director, to really have conversations around the school leader paradigm. Tiffany came out and talked with our administrators for a little bit to talk through the aspects of that paradigm. But then what we noticed is that we needed something that was going to be efficient, doable, actionable, and that we could jump on right away. And so the team that got together of just brilliant administrators to really unpack everything in that, it's like a 100-page document, and if you notice, it's down to like 34 pages, so we were excited about that. But the essence of the research behind the paradigm is what held true, because we knew that these best practices in leadership were important, so we're still surrounding everything around that. It was more thinking through the process piece. So here you'll see the leadership intelligence side, that becoming side. We're really focusing in on how are you growing as a learning leader, how are you growing those personal intelligences, those social intelligences, and those systems intelligences. When you look on the other side, you'll see the domains of culture, systems, and learning. Those are the three main domains that we focus on when we're thinking about the improvement of the school and what's happening at the school, and then also as a district. And then you have, from those domains, you have dimensions, which are those pieces underneath: race, relationships, student-centeredness, wellness. And then there are essential behaviors, and you can see that in your packet, what those essential behaviors are that we also can look at and think about. So as we are continuously, our leaders are continuously trying to outgrow their best selves as leaders, this is an area, these are the areas we'll be looking at. And then it's the fun part. You do this work together. A really great piece of all of this is really thinking about how are we growing and how are we doing that growing together. And that is what I love about our teacher evaluation system, and also about this, is it really puts growth first. And so we've already started some of this work in the Reflect and Plan. You'll see it's May through July. So really just started looking at some data, digging into that data, and thinking about when we come together in July, what are some of those problems of practice? So when you think about a problem of practice, it's what are we going to investigate that is going to help us do better as a school. So we're thinking about continuous improvement and how does this help with the school improvement and district improvement. And then they'll create a plan, the administrator will, based off of that. All the way up until the plan, they're doing it as a school building. So you'll have your high school is working, your high school principal, Janae, who's in the room, who also served on the committee, is if board approved, pending board approval. I guess I should say that. But she was on the committee, but she would work with assistant principals and deans and really think about what's that problem of practice. And then individually you make a plan with your own individual goals to help you grow as a leader. From there is the implementation phase. This is really the phase where you get together with your evaluators. So Ryan or I, Dan will sit down, talk, and have a conversation around that plan. And then what's that implementation look like, and what does support look like? Coaching is a huge part of this work in the idea. I strongly believe in Atul Gawande. He's a surgeon, and he says everybody needs a coach. We all need someone that's going to push us, nudge us, help us think. And that's what happens during this implementation time. Having one-on-one meetings, having observations, both formal and informal, and having conversations around what's working, what's not working, how do we move forward in this action plan. And then it ends with that assess and reflect. So let's look at the problem of practice. Let's look at your goals. How are we meeting those goals? And then from there, what does that mean our next steps are? And so constantly working through that infinity loop that you saw a few slides back.
So just about a week or so ago, we had our last admin team meeting with over 50 administrators across the district here in this room. And it was really great. For 2 hours, administrators met in their either school teams, or district administrators were meeting in their district teams, and we were digging into data. And that was really, really great. We were also talking about, there's a personal intelligence self-assessment that is completed, so you can talk about strengths and opportunities for growth with your team members, talking about how you complement one another, talking collectively about what our data is telling us about student performance, student outcomes, teacher retention. We looked at lots of different data points to start identifying those problems of practice. We didn't have a crystal ball to know that the state was actually going to eliminate the requirement to develop and submit annually a school improvement plan. However, this process really is not just a process for personal professional growth and evaluation. It is also baked into it a continuous school improvement planning process as well. So we were really excited about how the stars aligned for us in that way. And it actually really allows us to engage in school improvement continuously in a more locally relevant way, as opposed to putting something together that is mandated to us from the state. So that was a little bit of a lucky aside that we were able to experience that, so we're really excited about that aspect as well. So after the cycle of inquiry, the evaluation, the event that occurs at the end of the school year, this is how the summative evaluation rating will be calculated. 60% of the rating will be based upon how your evaluator rates your performance within each of the domains, the culture, the systems, learning domains, and the dimensions within those domains. And 30% of that rating will also be based upon your evaluator's assessment of your performance on best practices for professionalism. That is a fourth domain that is not a part of the school leader paradigm, but we added it in locally because that's something that we feel like is very important, that we want to establish as an expectation. And then lastly, 10% of the rating will be based upon how engaged the administrator was in the cycle of inquiry process, because that is important. Wanted to leave you with a final quote here from John Maxwell. The single biggest way to impact an organization is to focus on leadership development. There is almost no limit to the potential of an organization that recruits good people, raises them up as leaders, and continually develops them. I feel like that really, really nicely summarizes where we're at as an admin team here in Noblesville. So questions?
Anyone?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Of course. Just one. Comments, great job, well done. I mean, this, obviously you've put a lot of time and effort into this with multiple people. But my one question is that evaluation based on a 4.0 grading scale?
Very funny. It is based on a 4-point rating scale, yes. Yeah, okay.
Just a couple questions. Is this evaluation process a lot different than what you had in place before? And I guess big picture, what's the biggest difference of what you used to do and I guess what this new plan is going to do?
That's an excellent question, and it is very, very different. The current plan that we have really just establishes what I would almost call a laundry list of isolated, disconnected standards of professional practice for administrators in very general terms. It's not really grounded in anything that connects what administrators should be doing to how they should be doing it, and within the context of modern school organization challenges, issues. It also does not include that piece of reflection on personal leadership intelligences. So the paradigm has been developed by a consortium of principals associations from across the country. And it has been widely implemented in a neighboring state, Illinois. The IASP has aspirations to see its use grow in Indiana. And right now, we are the district, the one district in the state who has taken that on. So we are really excited to kind of be out in front because it is truly so modern, relevant, and grounded, like I said, in really, really robust research regarding principal leadership, school leadership.
So a lot of the admins then were very open to this because it sounds like it's a lot easier to understand how you're being evaluated compared to how it was in the past.
I think, yes, I think people are very open to it, the admins, just in the case of like, we're working on this together and learning it together. So there's still a lot to take in, but we've had a year to really dig into the actual paradigm. And then thinking through each piece together, we're chunking it out as we go along. But it definitely will highlight those expectations. And I think that's one of the things when Ryan said earlier, we've been having a lot of conversations around this, is really every time we come around and we're doing those evaluations, there always seems to be something that's lacking. And this gives that clear picture. We always say clear is kind, clarity is good, so this helps with that. And having administrator voices help with unpacking and putting it back together, I think was huge, because Ryan and I can get up there and talk about it, but having people who are doing that work every day, on the ground doing the work, a part of it is super important.
Right.
Did
Sorry,
you
Steph.
did you mention that there would be goals established, that the administrators would they establish those goals, or would you guys all work together to establish the goals, and then at the end, it's something we do with Dr. Heil, and he always gives us goals, and I really like the practicality of that, of saying, oh, here are 2 things that you could work on, and then what happened at the end of the year? Were you successful in completing those goals?
Yes, so the school teams or district teams will work together on data analysis. They will work together on identifying key problems of practice, but then individually, relative to your own role and responsibilities, you will develop your own cycle of inquiry plan, and that will be a goal that you will have. And that is included in the appendices of the overview. So it really lays out exactly what kinds of questions they will be required to answer to substantiate the identification of that goal. Some measurable desired outcomes will be included as well. So that will all then be a part of what the evaluator discusses with the administrator. And there are observations, both formal and informal, then that are conducted to gather evidence throughout the school year that then will inform the overall rating once you give the evaluative rating at the end of the year.
Okay, great, thank you.
Great, yes.
So is there a rubric, so to speak, that will be followed with this?
Yeah, the domains and those dimensions and the essential behaviors that are associated with those dimensions do serve as the rubric. And that is also, it's broken out in more detail within the overview document. It really does a nice job of laying out each domain, each dimension, how they're defined, and the essential behaviors that you would likely see from an administrator through their practice if they were really doing a nice job of addressing that dimension of school leadership.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right.
I just do want to give a shout out to our committee. Has been absolutely phenomenal. Dr. Mobley has served on that committee. I don't know if anybody else is in here. I don't think tonight, but we have a great committee of administrators, real high flyers, and it's been a lot of fun this last semester to meet with them and put this together. So
Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Yes. All right. We have a strategic plan presentation. Dr. Heil.
All right. Thank you, board, and thank you those our guests here with us tonight. So as I shared in my updates board, as I sent you your materials for tonight, I am the last of the initial round of updates. I actually won't normally be last, but you might remember we flip-flopped 5 and 6 this month to work out some other challenges. So, but I am the last one, and so want to start exploring that tonight. So just as a review, if we can move forward a slide here. I am not going to stand at the podium because everybody can already see me. Now I can see everybody if I sit here. I could, but I'm not going to. So so just as a refresher for our friends in the audience who maybe haven't been here for any of these, and maybe any public who will watch this on video later, just as a quick recap, we established all this work through the board, establishing 6 goals, which then we took all that feedback we got from our community over the last year, used that to refine down into our strategic plan that was then built out and is on the website for everyone to see. And so tonight, again, we're going to zero in on number 6, which is celebrated school culture, right down in the bottom right corner. So if we move on another slide here, the commitment statement that we put in place, the board, I should say you put in place when you voted on this last fall, was that Noblesville Schools is committed to nurturing a welcoming and innovative school community that honors our timeless traditions and school spirit. So if we look forward, I want to show that these were the measures of success on the next slide here that we kind of set in place again when you voted on this plan. And I won't read all those to you because these are available there on the website for folks to review. But these were the things that we said, these are the important big ticket items that we feel like if we're doing this, we are really doing well at celebrating our traditions and our culture here at Noblesville Schools. And then if we look forward again here with the strategies board that you put into place as part of that plan, that once again said these are some of the actual things that people should observe going on at Noblesville Schools that again indicate that we are living up to our commitment in this area. And so tonight, though, a little bit different than we've done in the previous presentations, I'm going to zero in on just 3 of those and kind of highlight a few specific things that we're working on right now that I feel are really living out these. So the first one I want to talk about tonight is adopting a forward-thinking best practices in educational leadership. And as I reflected on this a little bit, I thought, what more obvious thing are we doing that everyone is watching happen in real time than the expansion going on at Noblesville High School? And so I know I've showed these images in some other presentations before, but I do want to show them, and I was thinking about it as I prepared for tonight. This is probably the last time I'm going to show these renderings, because the next time we talk about this, it's going to be in person and we'll have real pictures to show. But for the sake of tonight and just highlighting again, board and community, it's no secret that there has been a major investment of both time, resources, and energy into this very impactful expansion that's happening at the high school right now. And a few specific areas that are going to be affected by this. This is just one example of one of the music rooms. This one you can actually see in person right now that's been in use for several months. This is the new jazz band space. They're in the core of the building. And again, I've visited rehearsal a few different times. I think they would tell you it has been a complete change for their program. For those who remember the old jazz space, we'll just say it was small. That's the only word I can use. This space is so great, and they are just maximizing use of that. The next image here that Mr. Swickheimer has put up is the cafe area. Board, you got to see kind of this in its skeleton work when we saw it last time. Again, when I think forward thinking and kind of, looking to the future, what a great way to again, use this new space to serve our students better, to give them some flexibility and to tie into kind of the overall feel of this whole area, which leads me to the next image. One of the things that you've heard us talk about a lot, and community's probably heard me mention before, is that the design of the common spaces of this new wing were intentionally laid out in a way to provide spaces for collaboration and inquiry. That's so important for kids now and for students as they prepare for future learning and opportunities. So again, if you think back to that cafe space, you look at this area and the next couple slides, they were designed specifically for that purpose and to maximize that and give additional spaces for that. Again, if we look forward, this one again just highlights another set of that collaborative space up on the second level. And then probably my favorite 2 images of all are the next 2. This will definitely be the showcase space that I can't wait for our community to see when they come and visit the new wing in just a couple of months. Again, this will be where students sit if they're down there eating lunch, if there are some of the students that have the ability to do that. But also, again, it's a very large gathering space that can be used for faculty meetings, staff gatherings, student meetings, of course, community events. And then if we do one more slide forward, this is the view of that same area from the top of the gathering stair, just looking down, and you can see this image also shows that courtyard that's there also. So once again, another flexible space that'll be used for collaboration and just all sorts of great new things. So I'm excited to say again, this has already started to go out, but just in case those folks haven't heard this yet, we are officially want to share tonight that the grand opening of this will be on Thursday, August 7th, 4:30 p.m. at the high school. So community, make sure you write that down. We truly want everyone to come. We're going to promote this many times between now and then because this was a big investment by our community, and we want them to come and see what we did and get to see all the things that are going to benefit the children of Noblesville. So very excited. We'll share some more information as that gets closer, but again, please mark your calendars. We would love to have you there. So if we move on to the next slide, the next strategy that I want to talk about is highlighting school spirit, our traditions, and our community pride. And so I'm going to go one slide and I'm going to share a story that some of you have heard me share before, but I can't not share it because it matters too much to me. I still remember when I interviewed with the school board for the very first time and I asked them the question, which was, what is something I have to know about Noblesville and I can't miss? And they said, the homecoming parade. And I thought, are you for real? The homecoming parade? Really? And then I went to the homecoming parade, and it is a can't-miss event that I will never miss on my calendar. And so just a collage of a few of the parades that I've had the pleasure of seeing since I've been here. I would assume everyone in this room knows exactly what I'm talking about that parade, but what a special thing. And I think it's easy sometimes for folks who don't live in Noblesville or don't work here to take things like that for granted. Folks who do work here and live here, but this is not the norm in all communities, and it's just such a special thing. So along those lines, I want to bring right up, you may have heard us mention it, but it's a huge deal this year. Our theme for this coming year at Noblesville Schools is, believe it or not, the 100th anniversary of the Millers. And those who know the story know that the Millers were named back in 1925 when the Noblesville Milling Company made the best deal of the century by buying uniforms for the teams, and the only agreement was you have to call yourself the Millers. Who knew that 100 years later, long after the company didn't exist, they would still have this amazing promotion going on for their business? But the name is stuck, and what a unique and special name. So with that said, again, it will be our district theme next year. The font here was intentionally picked to match the uniform font that was in place at that time, and it's designed in a 1920s Art Deco style. As part of our celebration of this, we already have flagpole art on the way that'll be all over town when the time comes, ready to hang those up. And there's all sorts of other ideas we're working on to celebrate this milestone, but I'm not going to give away any other surprises because we're working on some other things. But we're very excited to celebrate with our community very, very soon. And then the last strategy that I want to highlight quickly tonight are celebrating Noblesville Schools employees and our community members. And I think it goes without saying that we have so many ways that we do this here. As I was thinking about this, I was reflecting on just a few weeks ago, many of us had the opportunity to celebrate at our Gratitude Gala where we celebrate our Teacher of the Year and so many other employees and retirees. But again, the most new thing that is going on at Noblesville Schools is our brand new Hall of Fame that we are just so excited to induct the first class. So community and board, you may remember that just a few months ago we named our inaugural class. So here are those 8 individuals. Want to just make sure we mention them again tonight. And the committee felt that these 8 were the folks that best exemplified exactly what we had in mind to be our first inaugural class of Hall of Fame recipients. And so as we're planning for this, we are excited that we believe later this year, so the timelines are still kind of in flux with some things, but we are very excited that the actual physical structure is almost completely honed in now, and groundbreaking should start here pretty soon so that we can celebrate. And I'm excited tonight to share the first rendering of what that space will look like. And so to orient you, for those who don't recognize where this is, the building that you can kind of see on the right there is the community center, and the fence on the left is the backside of Beaver Stadium. And so this will be placed right there in between those two structures. And a lot of thought went into where to put this, and we finally settled on this location because it's easy to get to, even when the stadium's not open, so our community can visit anytime they choose, but it's still very much a part of our campus and right there for everyone to see. And when people are there for events, either at the community center or the stadium, it's very easy to step out and visit. So we are very, very excited. Just to orient what you're seeing in the picture, you can see there's going to be some seating areas for folks to come and sit with their families and friends. And then the structure in the middle, of course, is Noblesville themed, but it will have the names of all of our inductees, obviously the inaugural class, and then each year as we add names, they will be added on. So we are just unbelievably excited to celebrate with our community when this is ready to go. So again, be on the lookout for more details soon as we get that date established. So with that, board, that is everything that I wanted to highlight tonight. I don't know if there are any questions or any discussion on any of those items.
Any questions?
Great job. I mean, it's
Yes.
kind of nostalgic seeing, the Miller recipients, because a few of them I actually had as teachers when I went to school here. Mr. Land was my first grade teacher, but his last year as principal was my daughter's kindergarten year. So, I've had a couple of these. So it's nice to see them, come back into the circle of the Millers.
That's awesome.
So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Next up is public comment on an agenda item, and we did not have anyone sign up tonight, so we will move on to consent items. By single motion, the board approves and adopts the following items or actions which reflect the application of board policy in Indiana Code. And those are claims, donations, minutes of our last meeting, overnight and out-of-state trips, and personnel listing and a personnel addendum. May I have a motion to approve the consent items as listed?
So moved.
Joe?
Second.
Second by Brett. Any further discussions?
Yes,
Joe?
I would like to thank our wonderful community, which continues to support our students by somebody giving $5,000 to take care of lunch accounts, and they did that anonymously. So again, we appreciate our community so much.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Dr. Heil.
Before we move on, I do want to acknowledge 3 special individuals that were on that personnel listing. I want to congratulate Dr. Janae Mobley as our new high school principal. Congratulate Mr. Jeff Harkin, who's been promoted to assistant principal at the high school. And I also want to acknowledge, didn't know she was coming, but so glad that she's here. I also want to acknowledge Amanda Russo, who is here for being our teacher at Noble Crossing. Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, board docs is still going slow. All right. Action. We heard earlier from Dr. Rich and Dr. Townsend about the Administrator PGEP program. May I have a motion to approve the new Administrator Professional Growth and Evaluation Program to be implemented during the 2025-2026 school year?
Motion.
Motion, Steph. Second? Misty? Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Next up, we have, the administration is requesting approval of some CTE contracts for this upcoming school year. Those are ABC Construction Prep Academy, All Heart Nurse Aid Training Center, LLC, EMT Medical Training Solutions, LLC. May I have a motion to approve these 3 contracts subject to final review by our council, by the school's council?
So moved.
Joe, can I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Not really discussion, but just to make a note that we all did have several questions that we had emailed in advance about these contracts, and Dr. Heil has addressed them with his team, and I think we're all good.
We're all good? Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
You can.
Vote, excellent. So I want to acknowledge publicly, because he is here tonight, Dr. Smithers' work. He has really led all of this expansion very, very well over the last few years, and I think you noticed. I try to acknowledge in my email as I respond to your questions. He has definitely the knowledge base and the one doing a lot of this behind the scenes. And hopefully you picked up on some of those responses that he is being very strategic, finding ways not just to maximize opportunities for students, but also to maximize the best use of our resources and opportunities for the district as well. So I want to publicly thank him since he is here tonight for all his work on this.
Yeah, we appreciate that, because you would think there will be more of these with the expansion at some point. So. Yep.
They're great programs, and we appreciate all your work and answering all of our questions. We had
Yes.
a lot of questions.
We have a
so
lot of
thank
questions,
you for
yeah.
thanks for answering all of those. Appreciate that.
Okay.
And very quickly at that.
Uh-huh. All right. Anything else? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next up on our agenda would be public comment for a non-agenda item, and we did not have anyone register tonight. So we will move on to committee reports, starting with Dr. Heil.
All right, thank you, board. As everybody knows, our staff is hard at work preparing for next year. I made a joke earlier to somebody that at a meeting I was at over lunch today, someone said, "Boy, are you just enjoying relaxing over the summer?" I just had to walk away because that's not real life. Community, I'm actually going to share an update with you on a couple of things. The board and I had the chance just last Friday to attend an ISBA summer school law seminar. I think we all found that very educational. One thing that I think folks don't always know is just how much changes so quickly in school law and between legislation, court cases, and other legal guidance. So that was great learning together. Appreciated our time to do that. And actually next week, all of us, I believe, are signed up to also attend the budgeting seminar. So looking forward to doing that. Mr. Horder-Miller will be with us for that. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the board's commitment to professional growth as individuals and, of course, collectively as a board. So 2 quick reminders. Excuse me. For the sake of the community, believe it or not, it's already time to start thinking about the Back to School Bash, which will be on Friday, July 25th. At 5 p.m. At Federal Hill Commons, and then the NHS Academic Wing, I just told you, Thursday, August 7th at 4:30. I need a drink. Gosh.
Anyone have a drink?
All right. Thank you. I will report on the Noblesville Schools Education Foundation Board. We met on May 22nd. There have been 72 grants approved for this calendar year for a total of $72,000. The Disney Trivia Night was a success. The next trivia will be Holiday Trivia. It will be in December at Beer Brewery. I'm going to mention two things that Dr. Heil already mentioned. NSEF will be involved in the 100 Years of Millers, the kickoff coming this school year, and also involved in the Back to School Bash on 7/25. Next up, parks.
Parks, the parks are open and the programs are all full and going well. Last night, I don't know if anybody else attended the Pacer game at Federal Hill on the big screen. It was everything, the Parks Department pulled it off very nicely. Everything went well except the end of the doggone game, okay? All right. Second thing, summer concert series at Dillon Park. They're every Thursday night at 7 o'clock through July. And they've got all kind of fun groups. They got the Blue River Band, Dave and Ray, Endless Summer, and that goes through July 24th. And then the summer concert series at Federal Hill goes through September 27th, and they're on Saturday nights. And I've done 2 or 3 of those in the past, and they are always fun. Check the park's website to get those dates and times set up. Okay, get out to Noblesville Parks. Our Parks Department does a wonderful job of keeping everything fresh and nice, and have great events.
Thank you. Noblesville Redevelopment Commission. Stephanie.
We met on Thursday, June 12th, and just had a couple orders of business. One was the purchase of real estate at Innovation Mile at 14002 East 146th Street for the approximate price of $360,000 per acre. I think the total came to maybe 2.8 or maybe 900. No, there are 2.6 acres at $360,000 per acre. $360,000 per acre.
Yeah, you better.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And then the second one was for the Barley Island property. That was presented with a third amendment to previously approved option agreement for the purchase of that real estate property. I believe it's going to be potentially going back to the city, purchased through a TIF. So I guess stay tuned for what that property may end up becoming. It was called Project Bourbon. It was going to be a bourbon tasting. Not sure exactly what's going to happen moving forward with the city purchasing that for $2.8 million. So that was it. Oh, and Christy also got a new gavel.
I did.
Was made by one of our RDC members. He made that in his wood shop.
Yep. So it's pretty calm tonight. I don't think we'll have to use it, right?
Yeah. It was made by the gentleman that has the lions on his front porch that he decorates. Is it on Connor Street?
On
Connor Street.
Yep.
Yes, he's Jim. So.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Noblesville Youth Sports Alliance, Misty.
I want to backtrack to Joe's a little bit, just for a quick second, because if y'all know Dave and Ray, they're this Thursday at Dillon Park. So they're one of my favorites. So just FYI, if you're looking for something to do this summer Thursday, Dave and Ray, it's a free concert. The Noblesville Youth Sports Alliance update. Our last meeting was May 21st. And we held a CPR AED certification class in May, and it wasn't very well attended, but at least there were 8 people, and they helped cover partial expenses for that. If you want to get certified, I'm sure we're going to be running another certification soon. Let's see, I'm kind of torn on mentioning this update because it involves another school district, but maybe someone in our community can benefit from it. It's the only reason I'm mentioning it. But Westfield Youth Sports has a paid position open for operations manager. Pays quite well. I looked it up today. It's $60,000.
Oh, wow.
So, but that may or may not be filled by now, but if you're interested, westfieldyouthsports.org. Several leagues within our community. It's youth sports that are not school affiliated, just within our community. It's age groups under 6 or up to 6th grade, because I believe 7th grade starts most of our sports. So, but most of our leagues are wrapping up or they're preparing to begin their season. The Pickler had their open house back on June 1st, and they offered free pickleball for this event. I was unable to attend, so I'm not sure of the turnout. My family actually had sports that evening, so our next meeting is July 16th. July 16th. We're not having a June meeting because just the timeliness and everything being crazy. So, and we will also hold a booth at the Back to School Bash.
Thank you very much. All right, our next regular school board meeting will be here July 22nd at 6 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Joe? Second by Misty. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.